The lights in the ITV studio were shining bright as Loose Women kicked off another lively episode filled with laughter and lively debates that millions of viewers tune into every weekday afternoon across the United Kingdom and beyond. The regular panel including the ever outspoken Denise Welch, who rose to fame on Coronation Street and has never shied away from sharing her candid opinions on everything from politics to personal struggles, sat ready with their signature mugs of tea and sharp wit ready to engage. Little did anyone know that this particular day would turn into one of the most talked about moments in the show's long history, when the legendary Sir Michael Caine, the 92-year-old Oscar-winning icon known for unforgettable roles in classics like Alfie, The Italian Job, Get Carter and more recent blockbusters such as The Dark Knight and Inception, made a surprise appearance. The audience erupted in applause as the dapper knight of the realm walked onto the set dressed in a tailored suit with his trademark charm and that unmistakable Cockney accent that has captivated fans for decades. Hosts welcomed him warmly, asking about his incredible career spanning over 70 years, from his humble beginnings in the tough streets of London during the Blitz through his military service and the Korean War to becoming one of Britain's most beloved actors with 2 Academy Awards under his belt. Caine regaled the panel with hilarious anecdotes about working with directors like Christopher Nolan and sharing the screen with stars such as Sean Connery and Morgan Freeman. For the first 20 minutes everything seemed perfect, with Denise Welch nodding along, smiling and even laughing at his stories about the old days of British cinema when things were grittier and more straightforward. The atmosphere was electric, with viewers at home posting excitedly on social media about seeing the legend in person on daytime television. But beneath the surface a storm was brewing as the conversation slowly shifted from nostalgic film memories to more contemporary topics like the state of the entertainment industry today and how veterans like Caine view the changes in Hollywood, including diversity casting and the pressures on older actors. Denise, who is known for her fiery takes on social issues and her willingness to challenge guests, leaned forward with a glint in her eye, ready to steer things into deeper waters. The audience leaned in, sensing that the easygoing chat might take a turn, and indeed it did, setting the stage for what would become an unforgettable confrontation that no one in the studio or watching from afar could have predicted would end with such dramatic consequences for the beloved star. As the discussion deepened into the challenges facing seasoned performers in an era dominated by streaming services and youth-obsessed casting calls, Sir Michael Caine offered thoughtful insights drawn from his vast experience, emphasizing the importance of talent over trends and how true acting craft never goes out of style no matter the age of the performer. He spoke passionately about mentoring young actors and his pride in continuing to work well into his 90s, proving that experience brings depth that cannot be replicated. The other panelists nodded appreciatively, adding their own comments, but Denise Welch, who had been relatively quiet up to that point, suddenly interjected with a question that carried an edge, hinting at criticism of some of Caine's past public statements, particularly those regarding British politics and his well-documented views on Brexit, which he had supported in interviews over the years. She referenced a lighthearted but controversial moment from years earlier at Caine's birthday celebration, where she had made headlines with a bold joke involving another celebrity, but this time she pivoted to suggest that perhaps icons like him needed to evolve with the times and not cling to outdated perspectives that might alienate newer generations of fans and colleagues. Caine responded with his characteristic dry humor, trying to keep things light by joking that at his age evolution might mean simply getting out of bed in the morning, but the tone in the studio shifted noticeably as Denise pressed further, accusing him subtly of benefiting from a system that favored certain voices while overlooking others. The audience murmured and the cameras captured close-ups of Caine's face, showing a flicker of surprise turning to mild irritation as he defended his record, pointing out the countless diverse projects he had been part of and the doors he helped open for actors from all backgrounds throughout his career. Tension mounted as Denise countered with examples from modern films, claiming that real progress only comes when established figures step aside or adapt more aggressively. Other hosts attempted to defuse the situation with jokes about tea breaks and changing the subject to Caine's latest book or charity work, but the damage was done and the exchange began to heat up, with raised voices and pointed remarks flying back and forth. Viewers at home started flooding social media with live reactions, some cheering Denise for her boldness while others defended Caine as a national treasure who deserved respect. The atmosphere grew thick with anticipation, knowing that live television waits for no one, and this clash was about to escalate far beyond a simple debate into something much more explosive that would leave the entire panel and crew stunned. The confrontation reached a boiling point when Denise Welch directly challenged Caine on what she called repetitive acting styles across his films, suggesting that many of his roles felt similar, relying on charm and accent rather than fresh innovation, which she claimed was holding back newer talent from shining. Her words landed like a thunderclap in the studio, causing audible gasps from the audience and wide-eyed looks from the CO hosts, who shifted uncomfortably in their seats, trying desperately to steer the conversation back to safer ground. Sir Michael Caine, who is renowned for his composure even in high-pressure situations, paused for a moment, his eyes narrowing as he absorbed the criticism before responding with a measured but firm defense of his body of work, highlighting how he had portrayed everything from cockney rogues to sophisticated spies and even a butler in blockbuster superhero movies, proving his versatility time and again. He reminded everyone that longevity in acting comes from dedication and adaptability, not constant reinvention for the sake of trends, and that dismissing veterans' contributions was not only unfair but disrespectful to the craft that built the industry. Denise fired back undeterred, arguing that constructive criticism is essential for growth and that staying silent on such issues perpetuates problems in show business where age and experience sometimes overshadow fresh voices, especially for women and minorities. The back and forth intensified, with Caine standing his ground, eloquently quoting lines from his most iconic films to illustrate his range, while Denise countered with statistics on casting diversity and personal anecdotes from her own experiences on sets where older male stars dominated. The studio audience was on the edge of their seats, some applauding Caine's poise, others nodding along with Denise's points, creating a divided energy that crackled through the air. Producers behind the scenes exchanged worried glances as the segment timer ticked down, but the live format meant there was no cutting away easily. Emotions ran high, with voices overlapping slightly until Caine raised his hand, calling for a moment of respect, stating that he had come to celebrate cinema, not engage in personal attacks. Yet Denise continued pressing her case passionately, her face flushed with conviction, leading to a series of rapid exchanges where accusations flew about entitlement versus accountability. The entire panel looked tense, and the hosts tried multiple times to insert humorous asides, but the spark had ignited a full-blown argument that no amount of mediation could contain in that moment, turning what started as a friendly interview into a heated showdown that would dominate headlines and online discussions for days to come. In the heat of the moment, Sir Michael Caine rose from his chair with surprising agility for his age, his voice steady but laced with unmistakable frustration as he addressed Denise Welch, directly telling her that true professionalism involves knowing when to listen rather than constantly interrupting with agendas that undermine the guest's purpose for appearing on the show. The studio fell into a stunned hush as he continued, expressing disappointment that a platform meant for uplifting conversations had devolved into what he perceived as unnecessary confrontation, especially given his lifetime of contributions to British entertainment and culture. Denise stood her ground, retorting that challenging power structures, including celebrated figures, is part of her role as a panelist, and that no one is above accountability, no matter how legendary their status. The exchange escalated rapidly, with Caine declaring he had endured enough of the disrespect and announcing he would not continue under such conditions, prompting producers to rush onto the set, attempting to calm the situation and salvage this segment. Cameras captured the chaotic scene as security personnel discreetly moved in to escort the actor offstage amid protests from parts of the audience who chanted his name in support, while others called for the show to proceed fairly. Denise remained seated, looking resolute though visibly shaken by the intensity, while the remaining panelists scrambled to fill the airtime with awkward commentary about the unpredictability of live television. Caine was effectively removed from the broadcast mid-episode, what many later described as being kicked off in a dramatic walkout that sent shockwaves through the industry, with clips circulating instantly on social platforms amassing millions of views within hours. The producers issued a quick on-air apology for the disruption, but the damage was done as the confrontation became instant viral fodder, with hashtags like #CaineVs.Welch and #LooseWomen drama trending worldwide. Backstage accounts later revealed heated discussions among executives about whether the segment should have been handled differently, but the live nature left little room for intervention once tempers flared. This moment marked a rare instance where a guest of Caine's stature faced such public friction on daytime TV, highlighting the fine line between engaging debate and outright conflict that can derail even the most polished productions. Following the abrupt departure of Sir Michael Caine, the Loose Women studio descended into a flurry of activity, with producers frantically coordinating to transition into a commercial break while the panel regrouped, visibly rattled by the unprecedented events that had just unfolded on national television. Denise Welch defended her approach in the immediate aftermath, explaining to her colleagues and the returning audience that her questions stemmed from a place of genuine passion for progress in the arts, and that holding icons accountable fosters better dialogue overall, even if it leads to uncomfortable moments like the one they had witnessed. The other hosts offered mixed reactions, some praising her courage for not backing down, while others expressed concern that the confrontation might overshadow the show's usual light-hearted format and alienate longtime viewers who tuned in for celebrity stories rather than political sparring. Social media exploded immediately, with divided camps forming rapidly, one side hailing Caine as a dignified legend who refused to tolerate rudeness and walked away with his head held high, while the opposing group applauded Denise for her fearless stance against perceived generational entitlement in entertainment circles. Clips of the heated exchange racked up tens of millions of views across platforms, with commentators from film critics to celebrity gossip accounts weighing in on who was right and what it revealed about the evolving dynamics between old Hollywood and modern media landscapes. Ratings for that episode soared as curious viewers tuned in to catch the drama, leading to record engagement for the show, but behind the scenes ITV executives held emergency meetings to assess the fallout, including potential complaints from Caine's representatives and the risk of damaging relationships with high-profile guests in the future. Denise later took to her personal social channels to elaborate on her perspective, sharing a lengthy post that reiterated her respect for Caine's achievements while standing firm on the need for honest conversations about industry evolution. Meanwhile, fans of the actor launched online petitions calling for an apology from the show or even a boycott of future episodes until clearer guidelines on guest treatment were established. The incident sparked broader discussions in talk shows, podcasts and newspaper columns about the pressures of live broadcasting, where unscripted moments can either boost popularity or create lasting controversies that linger in public memory for years. In the days that followed, Loose Women addressed the event briefly on air, acknowledging the passion on both sides and promising more balanced segments moving forward, but the story refused to fade quickly as new details emerged from insiders about the pre-show preparations and how no one anticipated such a fiery outcome from what was billed as a celebratory appearance. In the wake of the explosive confrontation that saw Sir Michael Caine dramatically exit the Loose Women set after clashing with Denise Welch, the entertainment world buzzed with analysis and speculation about the long-term implications for both the star and the long-running daytime program that had built its reputation on candid, unfiltered conversations. Caine's representatives released a measured statement expressing regret over the escalation while reaffirming his admiration for the show's contributions to public discourse and noting that at his stage in life he preferred environments of mutual respect over adversarial settings, which helped quell some of the more extreme reactions but did little to stop the viral spread of the footage. Denise Welch continued to receive both support and criticism, with her fan base praising her for embodying the fearless spirit that defines Loose Women, while detractors accused her of unnecessary provocation toward a revered national figure whose lifetime achievements deserved celebration rather than challenge during a guest spot. Media outlets across the UK and internationally picked up the story, framing it as a clash of generations in show business, with op-eds exploring themes of respect for elders versus the push for ongoing societal change in creative fields. Viewer feedback poured into ITV offices, with some demanding stricter controls on panelist questions during sensitive interviews, while others celebrated the raw authenticity that made the moment so compelling and shareable. The episode's online views surpassed all previous records for the show, turning what could have been a minor mishap into a cultural talking point that even influenced discussions in unrelated sectors like politics and corporate training on handling live conflicts. As weeks passed, the incident faded from daily headlines but resurfaced periodically in retrospective lists of memorable television meltdowns, solidifying its place in Loose Women lore alongside other famous guests. Bats, Caine went on to focus on personal projects and family time, occasionally referencing the event humorously in later interviews to show he harbored no lasting grudge, while Denise continued her regular appearances, bringing the same energy that made her a staple of the panel. Ultimately, the event served as a reminder of the unpredictable nature of live television, where icons and outspoken personalities can create sparks that captivate audiences even as they test the boundaries of civility and entertainment. Fans on both sides found common ground in appreciating the passion it displayed and the conversation it sparked about balancing tradition with progress in an ever-changing media landscape, ensuring that this heated confrontation would be remembered not just as a controversy but as a pivotal moment that highlighted the enduring appeal of authentic unscripted drama in British broadcasting.